I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Hey guys, if you like what I'm doing, click the Amazon banner at the top of the homepage on FascinationStreetPod.com and do all of your shopping through Amazon. Once you click on it and it takes you to Amazon, you can bookmark it or add it to your favorites and you won't have to go to my site each time. It helps me keep the show going, and again, thanks for listening. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is Tecumseh number 3. Last week, my wife and I made the pilgrimage back to Chillicothe, Ohio, just outside of Columbus, for our third trip to the Tecumseh Outdoor Drama. This drama tells the life story of the Shawnee chief Tecumseh and how he tried to unite all of the Native American tribes and bring them together to fight against the expansion of the West and the Americans driving them out of their lands. This is the third time my wife and I have traveled to Chillicothe to see this amazing show, and every single time it's been worth it. This is the 47th year of this production, and in this episode, I got to sit down and chat, roundtable style, with the CEO and producer Brandon Smith, and actors Richard Neal, who plays Simon Kenton, James Cunha, who plays Red Horse, Lance Mendoza, who plays Chiksika and White Loon, and CeVonn Williams, who plays Spemica-Lawba. It was a lot of fun. I love talking to these guys every year, getting to know their stories, how they found out about this, what they knew about the man Tecumseh coming into this experience, and what they hope to get out of it. If you guys have the opportunity and you're anywhere near Chillicothe, Ohio, which is about an hour outside of Columbus, I highly recommend you go see this. It is amazing. There's gunfire, cannon fire, real live actual horses. There's fights, people getting shot and falling off cliffs into an actual river. It is amazing. Without further ado, this episode is my third trip to interview some of the actors and the people associated with the Tecumseh Outdoor Drama in Chillicothe, Ohio. I did have a little bit of technical difficulty, so in this episode you will notice an underlying bed of classical music. That's really just to cover up some of the technical mishaps. So try and tune that music out. I try to make it low enough volume so that it wouldn't be too distracting. But enjoy, folks. Tecumseh, number 3.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, all of you people. I know you'll have a lot to do today. So again, thank you for taking the time. So what I want to do first is let's go around the table and introduce. I want you to tell your name and where you're from and then how long you've been participating in this Tecumseh Outdoor Drama. So go ahead.
My name is Richard Neal, as you know, my brother Robert. I'm from Circleville, Ohio, which is about 15 minutes away, and this is my 5th year here.
5th year, awesome. And you skipped last year.
Yeah, I wasn't here last year, and I wasn't here at 60.
Gotcha. Why?
Why?
Yeah,
It's close to family. Every year I get something, an initiative to come back.
Gotcha.
And I saw the show when I was 5, so it means a lot to me.
Very cool. I can understand why. I mean, this is an amazing show.
Yeah.
Oh, what's your name?
My name is James Cunha from Atlanta, Georgia. This is my first year here.
Oh, cool. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm Lance Mendoza. I'm originally from Kennewick, Washington, and this is my first year.
Will you say the name of that town again?
Kennewick, Washington.
Kennewick. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. And this is your first year?
Yes.
First year, 5th year.
I'm CeVonn Williams. I'm from Covington, Georgia, and this is also my first year here.
Oh, cool. And then Brandon is back.
Yeah, Brandon Smith from Chillicothe, Ohio. I've been here off and on for 26 years.
That's a lot of years.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask all of you, when did you first find out about this place and how it happened that you found out?
I first found out, again, I said I watched the show when I was 5, so I watched the show. My parents brought, we watched it when I was 5. It didn't traumatize me at all, with all the blood and gunshots at all. And then,
I just want to pause you. The gunshots, like the rifle shots and the cannon fire, and there's like 12 horses in this thing, like real life horses. This is crazy. The first time I saw this, which this is my 3rd year, I did not know what to expect. They had told me, my friend Kevin and his wife Angie had told me, it's about this, and this tells the story of that, and there's this cool thing and that cool thing. And I was like, yeah, that sounds all neat, but I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, so how cool could it be? How many seats?
1,700.
1,700 seats, and how often do you sell it out?
Several times a year.
That is
Yeah,
amazing.
several.
To be in the middle of nowhere on a mountain in a town nobody's ever heard of, no offense.
We get people from all over. Like, I think it was the other day somebody said they were from Scotland.
Yeah, somebody was from China yesterday.
China, there are outdoor fans that make the reps around and watch outdoor shows.
It is so amazing. And back to the, not being traumatized to see it as a 5-year-old, it scared the shit out of me when I saw it. Like, I was not prepared for all of the coolness that was this event. I mean, it was just so cool. So you first came when you were 5.
Yeah, same thing with my brother Robert. We watched when we were 5. My mom says I cried the entire time. Then I kind of moved on, went to college, and then I went to my first cattle call theater audition. My first year auditioning, and my only callback was from Tecumseh. I was like, that's really familiar.
So did you audition at a bunch of places, or was it one central place?
It was one place at the Ohio Theater Alliance.
Okay.
I think there's about 60 companies that went out that year.
Gotcha. And so that's sort of a place where you kind of maybe do a monologue or something, and then all these different companies are watching you to see if they can use you in there. Okay.
Yeah. You got about 3 minutes of time or something like that.
Sort of like the NFL Combine. Everybody works out, and then everybody goes, well, I'm going to take that deal or whatever. Ish.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you found out about it then, and then, because you guys are from here, right?
Yeah.
And you and your brother are twins?
Yeah.
Okay. So you went to this cattle call at the OTA, and Tecumseh was the call you
Yeah.
and you were like, that sounds a little familiar, but you couldn't quite place it. So you had only been the one time when you were 5, or had you been a couple times?
I think I'd only been the one time when I was 5.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. My parents aren't really big theater people.
Okay.
But it was a big outdoor show in the area. And I think since we cried the entire time, they were like, maybe not do that again.
All right, how about you?
Well, when we auditioned, I'm in my school, I'm in university, I'm a junior. I'll be going to a junior. We have auditions. We went to this place called IOTs in North Carolina, and it's indoor-outdoor theater.
Okay.
It's basically a cattle call with a bunch of companies there, and Tecumseh called me back. We went in, Brandon was really nice, and I was like,
What?
yeah.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Right.
For you.
That's not the Brandon I'm getting.
And then just went, did online, did some interviews with Jeremiah, and everything worked out.
Cool. I'm sorry, back to you. What part do you play?
I play Simon Kenton.
Simon Kenton. And what part do you
I
play?
played Red Horse.
Oh, rock on. All right, now you. Oh, wait, hold on. When did, so the first you heard about it was from the cattle call?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the callback, and that was in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Greensboro, yeah.
So had you ever heard of it before that?
Nope.
No? You were just
idea.
like, I'm sorry, the what?
The what? Yeah.
So when you finally did get here, what did you think when you walked in and you saw how big and like how detailed and intense the production is?
Oh, it was insane because you walk in there, you go on that stage for the first time, you see the house, it's at 1,700 people. You're like, this is the biggest I've ever performed in front of an audience. And the horses and the gunfire, it's
insane.
It's insane.
So did you get an opportunity to see it before?
No.
Like, no.
No.
Oh, rock on.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so how I heard about this is actually online. I saw a posting for they were looking for a Chiksika or a Tompkins, and at the time I had a beard down the middle of my chest, so I sent in a video reel on my resume. I thought they're gonna give me the role of Tompkins, and then they called me back like, no, you want to play Chiksika, so I need you to shave the beard. Okay.
They're like, cool, you didn't send us enough. We're going to need you to send us that beard.
Pretty much. But I knew who Tecumseh was coming here, but I just didn't know of the show other than what's online. And then when they called me, I just researched it, looked up online, thought like, wow, that's so cool.
So yours wasn't like a cattle call kind of a thing. Did you send it a tape or what?
Yeah, I sent in a couple video reels and like my headshot and resume.
So it was an online casting call?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Y'all do that often?
Yeah, we put out a kind of a wide net every year for that.
Just sort of everywhere?
Yep.
Like you send people to these casting calls and then...
We do 4 big casting calls a year, and those are all pretty much, east of the Mississippi. And so to catch everybody else, we do a lot of online stuff as well.
Gotcha. Why East?
Just cost of travel, mostly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You already told me where you're from, but how did you find out about it?
I found out about it from a buddy of mine because my friend Chase Moore, he was actually here for 2 years previously. And when he came back to college, I go to school in Macon, I go to Mercer, and he was telling us about Tecumseh, and he said this was just this awesome outdoor theater. This is going to be an insane experience. And I went to the SCTC auditions in Greensboro, and Tecumseh was the only one that really called me back, and I went there. There was nobody else that was showing up, and Brandon called me in early. And
What do you mean there was nobody else?
Oh, when I got there, we were just waiting for the meeting. We were going to talk one-on-one.
Sort of like
no one else
when I
out
got
there.
here, and it was just you.
Yes, I was the only one there, looking around. Nobody.
So had you ever heard of, before your friend told you about it, had you ever heard of this drama?
Nope.
But had you heard of Tecumseh?
No.
No.
Yeah, same. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, in Georgia, they don't talk about
Yeah, they don't talk about
American
much.
history that much.
Yeah.
And where are you from?
Atlanta City.
So Georgia's school system needs to get their stuff straight.
Right. Yes. Indeed.
I learned about him in San Antonio, like in second grade, like long time ago. I learned about this man. That's wild.
Yeah, I might have missed school that day. I don't know.
Yeah, I know about one name.
You know what's really funny is I think your brother said that last year.
I remember learning about it in school. I remember them dropping a name because it was mostly when we were covering the War of 1812.
Right.
It was brought up a lot.
That makes sense. Brandon, you ever heard of this before?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I have the advantage of having grown up, 6 miles down the street, so.
I don't know if that's an advantage because it gets loud. Like, how did you get any sleep, man?
Well, I didn't hear him then, or I ignored it. I don't know.
Deaf.
Yeah. I grew up deaf.
Man, just like living close, I'd be terrified of cannonballs when landing in my house. I know there's not cannonballs coming out of there, but as a little kid, I'd be crying like this dude. I'm
still crying.
terrified. Yeah, I bet you did. I think I cried last year because I was like, oh, I forgot to bring earplugs.
Yep.
So, what is the most important thing that you learned about the story of Tecumseh once you started being a part of the story? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'd say how integral it is a bit to Ohio's history, where the man came from, and if he had been successful, how it could have changed historical events and gathering all these tribes together. In hindsight, it probably wouldn't have happened, just because there was so much infighting between different tribes and getting along. Like, if there was that chance, could have pushed the whites back away to the Mississippi.
It does make you wonder what would have happened.
If it had gone successful.
Right, like would we have tried again? The white man, would we have tried that again?
I doubt it would have stayed that. It would eventually push back or merge together.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, but just how crazy, like how early American history founded on this. The Manifest Destiny all pushing further east.
Westward,
if they hadn't stopped,
Right.
could there have been a line drawn in our map?
Yeah, I don't know if any of you have seen The Man in the High Castle. It's a Philip K. Dick novel turned into a series on Amazon. It's based on the premise of Germany won the war.
Yeah.
And so the United States is divided into 3 regions. One is Germany, or German-occupied America, and then the other one is Japanese-occupied America. And then there's this sort of no man's land, which is kind of like a free-for-all.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what that reminds me. It might have been something like that, where there was just America's only half of what it is now, and then the rest is sort of kind of off limits, kind of a DMZ sort of a thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So that's the biggest thing that you think.
That, and I'd say another one is that growing up and learning, even pop culture, you get a stereotyped Indian of their tribes, their history, their culture, and stuff like that. You get a stereotyped, perceived notion of that. And I think working here has helped me realize there's faces to everybody. All these different tribes are different people. They have different ideals. They have different beliefs. They have different, laws. They have different traditions.
Mm-hmm.
They're all different individuals. They're just not one face of a people. A stereotyped, perceived notion of this whole culture. Which makes this even more sad.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because some of those people are gone.
Yeah.
And most of the traditions are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
that is
like
super sad.
the wolf chant we have in the show. If I'm not mistaken, 2 people knew it at the time of making the show, and one of them was so old that he couldn't even sing it anymore. And we carried that on through the show, and how important that is to this culture, keeping this music alive, these traditions.
I think I said it last time. When they do that particular, it gives you chills.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I would imagine it doesn't matter how many times you've seen it. I guess I'll find out tonight. But the first 2 times, I was just like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And even the second time, I was like, I forgot about this part.
Yeah. I've never seen the show besides when I was 5. I've done the show for 5 years. Haven't had the chance to come back and sit and watch it. And there was one day, I think, in
That just sounds lazy, bro. I mean, I flew in from San Antonio. What are you doing?
A man flew in from Scotland.
Scotland.
There was a guy last night from Australia.
Yeah. Why were you here? I don't even know what it was. No, but like I think in 17, I got to sit down and watch the splitting of the tribe scene with Chiksika-Lawba and Tecumseh, and I was just like, again, chills. Maybe really kind of almost tear up just how sad it is.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that, when you're participating in it, that's your job. So you have some sort of just a bit of a detachment from the material.
It is very much a detachment. And that's not an insult to the show. That's not we don't care. We have a lot of things to do backstage.
Right.
That's like, I remember my second year here, Robert hadn't done the show, and he's like, do you remember this one scene where this one was doing this? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I'm doing something backstage.
You're like, I remember running from backstage to this point
I had to
backstage.
run off,
Yeah.
wash, get my clothes off, wash blood off, and change, and then by the time I'm ready, the next scene's going. Like, so I've never seen these other scenes. I can hear them on stage or read a script, but like I don't get the full picture. I assume everybody's the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to appreciate those scenes, but it was very nice watching that.
There is a whole show that goes on
Backstage.
and oftentimes the choreography of that is more complicated than what is
It has to
on
be.
the stage.
It has to be. I mean, just if you think about watching an awards show where J-Lo does 4 performances wearing 4 different outfits, you got how many actors?
Was there 57?
57.
I think this
And
year.
they're doing costume changes and scene changes, and they're doing all kinds of
Gotta
crazy
make sure you don't
stuff.
get run over by a horse or shot with a gun or any of that. Yeah.
Be
Got
standing too
fire.
close to that.
Right.
Send too close to reciprocal.
It's, I mean, that's, that has to be
Happens.
has to be has to be a ballet back there. So again, we can't tell that from the audience. I mean, it looks like y'all have your shit together.
We hope not. Have you ever seen Faulty Towers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of what our show is, right? It's all
Backstage in the kitchen.
calm. Yeah.
That's what's backstage.
Yeah.
So kudos to the directing staff and the producers, clowns. Y'all are doing great. Well done. What's the biggest thing that you've learned from doing this?
Biggest thing?
Yeah, the most impactful thing.
One, the story of Tecumseh, who he is as a person, is amazing. Because I didn't know how wise he was ahead of his time. Like, he was the true prophet, and I think that's really cool. The thing that I pulled out the most out of this is definitely the stage combat that we get to do in the show. Because I've never done stage combat this big before. And then we had the class come in where Jake Wynn taught us for 2 weeks, and we got certification.
Yeah, I saw some of those certificates online.
Yeah.
Somebody posted
Yes.
one. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And you get to take that knowledge with you
Yeah,
forever.
right.
I mean, it's like you're still in school,
Right.
and you're getting paid.
We are.
Wait, what?
Yes, you're paid with pizza. No, but that fight certification thing can be, Gatorade, is quite valuable.
They're not
for
helping
an
you
actor.
move, man. You can't just give them beer and pizza. You gotta pay these for
Hold on.
Who said beer?
No, but James is right. The exceptional, technical thing we
Right,
learned here is
yeah.
amazing.
Let's go on the resume.
Yeah, a lot of resume building stuff.
Right.
It's a great first.
I was just telling CeVonn earlier, he was asking about how when we go to auditions, how do we, because we see somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 actors this year to come up with our cast of 70 or so. And he was asking, how do you get through that many people? And I said, it's not as hard as it sounds. And one of the first things that I look for is fight experience, right?
Really?
You're going to have to have it.
Oh, you have to have it.
You don't have to.
Oh, you don't.
But you're going to do better on our stage if you do.
Gotcha.
Right? So there's a few things that, are you available during my dates?
That's
Can
a
I
pretty
hear
important
your voice?
part, right?
Yes.
Do
you have stage combat?
This is 1,700 seats. I mean, you have to project.
Yeah.
You have to really put it out there. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So so the first thing you look for is basically availability. Yeah, fight experience.
Yeah, those 3 things. And I'll know in 30 seconds whether or not you clear those 3 hurdles. If you don't, it's in the pile over here. And if you do, then we're probably going to be interested in talking to them. So.
It's like that next button on your phone.
Exactly.
You listen to a song, you're like, next.
Yep.
Skip ahead 30 seconds to the next person.
And I wish, because I actually, my career started as an actor. And I wish that I had known that when I was auditioning. Because I think I would have been a better auditioner. And just went out there and really put myself out there. But it's true half the time. Your actual audition and how well you perform in your audition is less important than all the other stuff.
I've heard that a lot in the different actors and producers and directors and things that I've interviewed. They talked about how different it is and how it makes them approach everything differently when they're on the other side and they're actually doing the casting. Then it sort of informs what they should be, since they know what they're looking for. Then the next time they're on the other side auditioning, then they sort of know what to give.
Absolutely.
That makes any sense.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that you learned out of this?
I would say number one thing that points out to me, I mean, other than what you guys just said, is like the Shawnee language. Really learning that and making sure ad libs are spot on. It's just, you have moments like saying those words on stage and making sure you're getting them right, and that's just so cool. We get to say a language that only 2,000 people in the world still speak. The other thing is just like that, what you were saying earlier, Richard. I mean, like when you hear the lament every single night, that is so moving. Like every single night, it still gives me chills just hearing it. So I would say, yeah, the fight stuff, the fact that we're doing this in a very historical area, like it really sinks in. Like even the beginning when they say near the Scioto River, it's right over there. Like we're in this area where Tecumseh really was. But the fact that we get to also honor by saying the Shawnee language out there, I think it's really cool.
I think it brings a lot that y'all are doing this performance basically on the sacred ground that it actually happened. And that really does bring a lot to the table. It's amazing.
For me, in all honesty, aside from like what all three of these gentlemen have said, the most important thing for me is like knowing that this story was actually a thing. Just knowing that these people truly existed. Because in Georgia, all I knew about was the Cherokee. And even then, barely knew anything about the Cherokee.
Right.
All I knew about was like everybody at some point, someone's mother or someone's father had Cherokee in their family one way or another.
Well, I wonder why.
But yeah, like I know about the Shawnee, I didn't know about Tecumseh, and just like knowing this story and knowing there are so many people and so many lives that were affected by events like this really huge thing, especially since these stories are rarely ever told. Like, I know little to nothing about Native American culture, Native American stories, Native American... Even naming conventions are very, very, very stereotyped. And
What do you mean?
like, for example, all these names, like Tenskwatawa, that wasn't what he was originally named. Like, he was originally named something else before the name changed.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm slow on that name, but something.
So when did these names change and why?
I think the way it works is they changed because of significant events or significant personality traits. Like, for example, Tecumseh was like, he was named that because of a shooting star.
I don't want to get too deeply into this, but what CeVonn just said, there's a great history in our country of Anglicanizing the American Indian.
That is
right?
a great word.
And it goes all the way back to the Boston Tea Party, right? When they dressed up as Native Americans and threw the tea over. And it continues to this day. This notion of the noble native red man and how that permeates our culture. Through camps, when we go to camps as kids, that kind of imagery is all over the place. The Red Man Society, which I think is still around today. Red Man Tobacco, on and on and on, right? Cleveland Indians.
You can just look at how much stuff is named after Tecumseh.
So the changing of those names is part of it. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that the English couldn't pronounce their names, so they just changed them to something else. Names of tribes were changed because of... so there's a very long history of that. Me as a producer and us as an organization are very conscious of that. It's a hard line to walk, right, to make sure that we're not perpetuating that myth.
Yeah, I think the previous 2 times I've been out here to talk to you guys, we talked about the diminishing use of body paint. Because obviously there's not a whole lot of Shawnee actors in this. Right. And so at some point, somebody has to either look similar or be made to look similar for this to be a truer story. Are you guys still using any paint at all?
We're not this year.
Is this the first year of no paint?
Nope. We've been back and forth on it for a couple of years. 15 was? 15.
I could be wrong.
That could very well be right. Mm-hmm. Then we also tried a couple different things. We were like, well, maybe we'll try this paint. Maybe it's not as
offensive.
Yeah, or maybe we'll try this and we'll try that. And I think we're kind of probably fairly well entrenched in not ever using it again at this point.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Does that come into consideration when you're casting?
Yep.
Like you're not going to cast me. I'm almost clear.
Oh,
not
well,
cast me as it seems.
You should say this. You should kick a skull.
It's a consideration, but not in that way. So I think it's more of a consideration that I need to be honest with the people who I'm talking to about coming to be on our stage, that they will be portraying a Native American, even though they're not, right? And I need to be sure that they're comfortable with that before they make a decision to come and work here. But as far as how that looks on the stage, no, I don't really consider... I mean, we have a little bit of an advantage in the second act in that we're portraying a conglomeration of people who all came together under Tecumseh's leadership. So they weren't all going to look the same, right? And even beyond that, for us to think that all Shawnee people looked exactly the same is pretty naive.
That's a good point, yeah.
Because once we're adopted.
Yeah. Most people are adopting is theater, I die and then get right back up and run.
Come on.
Spoiler alert.
So after your first experience, your first year of doing this, for some of you that's this year, what are you going to take back? Like some of you are still in school.
Yes.
When you go back to your school or to your homes and you talk to your friends or your communities and they say, what did you do over the summer? What are you going to tell them? Like, I know you're not just going to say, oh, well, I did this thing and move on. Like, what kind of things are you going to take back to your community and share about this experience? And you have already done this a couple times, so what did you take back first time, if you can remember?
I remember after my first year, I went back to college and we did a play where they needed to carry off a dead body. And I know how to do that. And everybody grab onto the arms and grab the leg. I had to do it 74 times. Brent said a lot this year, but like really like discipline. Teaching yourself to be a more disciplined actor and what that means, you know, being in the scene, doing your work, memorizing your lines, whatever, the hard work before you get into the scene work. And then
The technician.
you know, being consistent.
What about you? What do you take back?
Brent really helped us, like getting. He said you have to be an actor. You have to be what's the word I just used?
Technician.
Technician. You have to be an actor and technician. You have to do. Yeah, you have to do the muddy work first. You have to learn the lines. You have to learn the block. You have to do all this, and you have to do it 74 times. And you have to keep it fresh every time. And I think that's a really cool experience to have because I've never done a show where I've had to do 74 shows, 71 shows, however many shows it is. We only do shows for 2 weeks, so it would be cool to take back that experience of being like, oh, I've done a long run. I've done a show for 3 months. And probably nobody in my university has.
Right. And you also said Brent. Who's Brent?
The director.
Brent directed this year and previous year.
Yeah, he's been involved with the show for 30 years and directed the show for, I think, a 10-year run back in the 90s.
Gotcha. He's back this year.
This is his second year back.
Oh, he was back last year. So that woman was...
Jenny Mail, yeah, she directed the show for several years, and 3 years ago was her last.
And she was the one who had the massive knowledge of fight choreography and a bunch of different kinds of fighting, right?
Yes, she did.
Certified teacher.
Yeah.
Fight. Brent as well.
Brent is as well.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
They both know their
Good.
stuff.
Good.
And Jenny would come and stay a good portion of the summer. Brent has a little bit of a different. He comes in from Arizona, so he comes in for a month and then goes home for the rest of the year.
Oh, gotcha. That's interesting. What are you going to take with you?
It's like when I tell people back home, because I'm from Washington State, so I'm from the West Side, I'm like, it's like a Spartan race for theater people. It's just, you're sprinting the whole time. Yeah, it's a lot of the fighting and all what they just said, but it's also like playing into like what the weather does and like learning how to bounce off that. Sometimes it's really, really hot and you still got to stay in character. That can play into what we're doing out there. Even little things like that.
Did y'all ever cancel for weather? I mean,
Yes.
short of a hurricane, but...
Yeah. So, yes.
Did you say heat?
We've never canceled for heat.
Oh, good. Because
Tonight might be the hottest night that I remember here at the theater. Of course, our show doesn't start till 8. I mean, there's a reason we don't do a matinee in that theater, because you're out there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Especially in weather.
Yeah.
Chiksika would be down by the
I wear a whole leather tunic and everything. It'd just be glued to me.
Well, that sounds gross.
It is.
So that's what you're going to take with you back to Washington?
It's really funny because when I talk to people on the phone, I can't wait to go back and like tell people back there. I really get excited about talking about how the show is. I'm like, there's the historical factor of it. It's trained me to like really, like they said, be a technician. I got to like worry about staying hydrated and whatnot, staying in the moment, playing off of what's going on around me. The weather's now becoming a factor, something like that. Or, just little things like my leggings will get covered in mud, so now they're pulling down, so now I have to retie them really quickly before going to my next scene, but still keeping it fresh. I've never had to experience that anywhere else. I mean, really, when the weather comes into a factor, you do it inside for all my other theater endeavors, so.
Right. Outdoor dramas, I know that there's a few out there, but it can't be too common for people to have outdoor drama experience, right?
Not as common as it used to be, for sure. Yeah. There's about 8 pretty large outdoor theaters still operating in the United States. There's a lot more overseas than there are here. And there's a lot of big Shakespeare festivals that perform outdoors.
Shakespeare in the Park, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But there used to be, 4 times that amount.
Every actor that's over 40, every professional actor talks about when they did Godspell outside somewhere.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't even know what that is, but apparently all of y'all were in it. I know, it's weird. What are you going to take with you, CeVonn?
I'm definitely going to be taking home a really well-developed work ethic, because after all this, I've learned to become much more disciplined, much more dedicated, much more into my job. I've learned to humble myself even more, because as part of the ensemble, I didn't realize that being one piece in this very, very complex machine means that even though your part may perceptively, on a personal level, be small, that one thing you have to do, your one track, is actually keeping every single thing in line. And if you go out of line, you could cause the whole thing to fall apart because you just happen to be in the wrong place. And by being one step in the wrong place, you can knock someone else off their track, which knocks someone else off their track, which has this whole domino effect of issues.
Especially going into fighting.
Yes, the fighting. You need to be able to stay in your lane when it comes to fighting because of how much moving bodies are on stage.
So everybody listening, these fight scenes, normally it's not one person fighting one person. I mean, there's 20 people, 30 people all fighting at the same time. So I can totally understand how staying in your lane might be to your best interest.
That's like, I got split the other day. We did 2-8. I like, as I'm run off, it's like the battle's almost done. So there's like not a lot of people standing, and I hit Danny down, and he fell down, and I turned. And like this close, I could see my fight partner just fine, but it was so muggy. There was so much gun smoke that I turned. I couldn't even see the tunnel. I was like, "What? Oh, where am I?" And then just jet comes out of the smoke during your guys' fight. I'm like, okay, that's the direction I need to run.
I mean, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah,
because
it's like it just again stop that actor mind. Go to the technician mind. Where do I need to go? Okay, that's where I need to go. Solve problems on your own.
Find your blocking. Go for it.
Find your blocking. Problem solving.
It's kind of cool now because when we get to mid-July, we've been doing the show so much, especially for the fights. It's a dance, Like you're just like, this is where I gotta go. Because like that night when it was super muggy and foggy, I couldn't see Jet. Because I have to run across the stage, go to the other side of the stage because I'm trying to go get the cannons or whatever. And Jed's at Ross. He plays at Ross. He's there. I'm supposed to fight him. And like I'm going to go see him. There's so much fog. I said, well, I hope he's there. Right? Yeah.
My fight partner had to run all the way across the stage, and it was so foggy. My fight partner couldn't even see me. I could see him. And I'm like, is he going to look at me? Is he going to look at me? Is he gonna look? So I did a really big prep, and he just had that, oh God, look at his face. He's like, I'm not going to hit you. I'm not. Okay, he sees me now. I can go. Cool.
It's a good time.
Back to that technician mindset, because that's where disastrous things could happen. With action.
So what about this is going to inform the rest of your acting career? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about taking certain pieces that are going to help inform, but as far as, like he said, with the work ethic, is this at all what you guys expected it to be? I mean, like when you first did you know how intense? I mean, that work ethic, if you don't have it, I'm sure they don't have time to let you, mess around and just sort of half-ass it. I'm sure you slice people left and right at the beginning if they're not.
Oh, I'm brutal.
I mean, indeed.
Honestly, you gotta be.
It's really, that's in the director's hands and the stage manager's hands. I go find the best people who I can get to fill those roles, and that's what they do, and I let them do their jobs. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's really, safety and consistency are really the two most important things. That 3-week rehearsal period, they drill it in.
So was that a shock to your systems? The intensity and the constant non-stop of it all?
I
Because
think my first day of rehearsals, I saw Raymond Speakman, who had been signing. He'd been here collectively almost 30 years, but signed Kenton for 17. He's our technical director. I think I watched him rip a tree out of the ground my first day. And I, in my mind,
a real tree?
Probably about
I just want to make sure we're not talking about like a set piece.
No, it was a tree in the ground. It was in the island. It was a tree that had been sitting there. He ripped it out of the ground, and I went, "What did I get myself into?"
Did he do it because he was mad?
No. Oh, I think he was just sitting there going, I think somebody had told him, can we get rid of that tree? It's kind of hanging and just it's distracting. So just went, ripped it right out of the ground. And then we ran 2 miles, and I almost died.
Did you say we ran 2 miles?
Yeah, back my first year, it was, I think Adam Burke was director, and he loved to make us run. Every day. And it almost killed me.
Physical training.
It built stamina.
And then I think 2 days later, Loon called my girlfriend, and I'm never working here again. Fast forward 6-7 years
Here
later.
we are now.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What about you guys?
I mean, for me, I've played football for 7 years, so
You don't look like it.
Just kidding.
I mean, those 2-day practices that we had and those hot summer days, people are like, oh, this is hot. I'm like, this is nothing. You don't have full pads on, so this is nothing. So for me, that intensity I've been used to, so it was kind of nice to get back into that because I like it when it's 14-hour rehearsals, like getting work done. I feel productive.
You heard him. He wants to do the show in full
Yeah.
cats.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
I've actually done a lot of like intense blue collar jobs in between acting gigs. I was actually an oil worker right before I came here.
The roughneck?
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah.
Nice.
So those long hours in the heat, like just drink more water, just take care of yourself, and you'll be fine. I just came into it with the mindset of, okay, we're gonna work hard. It's gonna be 3 weeks. It's gonna be intense because we need to be on point for the show.
Right.
And that's what it needs. So I was like, I'm your guy.
Let's do it.
CeVonn?
Yeah, for me, unfortunately, I had no kind of experience. So the closest thing I could do was when I heard from my friend, like, Chase told me from the beginning, it's going to be hot. You're going to be working hard.
And you're like, dude, I'm from Hotlanta. I know what hot is.
Yeah, he just said, you will feel like you are going to die. You have to be ready. And I didn't take him seriously until the week before we got here. So I started running outside like every single afternoon.
Why'd you wait so long?
Because I didn't believe him. And then when I got here and I saw the rehearsal process, and I'm just like in the heat working out here, and I realized that you've got to really be willing to work and be willing to really get stuff done. Because when you're sweating, you're tired, and you're still not even halfway done yet with the day, you've got to be able to dig deep and push through.
Start 9 a.m. 3.5 hour fight combat.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Every day?
almost.
Yeah, just about.
3.5 hours of fight combat in the morning.
In the sun.
In the sun.
Tanning.
That's one good
Tanning.
thing. That's another thing to take away from the
Tanning.
show is that at least you'll go home with a 10 pounds lighter and with a bit of a tan. You look
Bronze
good.
and-
You get
bronze
that.
and lighter.
It's a commitment, man. Like when I got the contract, I was like, oh, I gotta play a Shawnee. I gotta get in shape. What? Yeah, right. No. I was like, I gotta get more in shape. So start January, I was running. I was trying to get in shape. And like the thing is, like even here, like when we start the show, we have time off in the morning, and I'm like, gotta go to the gym, gotta stay in shape. So like me and Matt, Sam, our Blue Jacket Tecumseh, we'll go to the gym all the time. And like that's another thing because it's hot out here. So we have to replace water. We have to do this. It's part of our gig. It's part of our job. That's what Matt likes to say. He's like, us Shawnee men, we do a lot more outside of just doing the show. As in like putting hours in the gym, trying to tan. You know,
Yeah, you look like you need a tan, too.
yeah.
Thankfully, I don't have to deal with that problem.
So I guess physical training is a big part of ramping up to do this, because you got to have some stamina to do this for 74 shows. 74?
71 this year.
Plus 3 weeks of rehearsal.
Yeah.
Interesting. You gonna do it again?
Probably.
You finished probably. He was like, probably. He's like, probably. And then he looked at
I don't
Brandon,
know.
and Brandon
If they ask me, I'll come back.
Right.
Will you hire me again?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's not up to me. I want to come back.
would you do it again? I know y'all aren't even halfway done, are you?
Yeah, I do. You know, I like the cast. I like the environment. I like it. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I get to ride a horse every day.
What?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Riding a horse bareback has been awesome.
Right, man. The 2-7, the parade chiefs that run around every day. My favorite moment in the whole show is in 2-7 because we do the parade chiefs, and we leave. And when we're on the back path, when me and Colin pass, the stage is black, and we're the only thing lit on that back path. Coolest experience. Love that part. Every day.
So good.
Now, when you say 2-7, that is Act 2, Scene 7?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that right?
and that's the meeting between Tecumseh and Harrison at
Right.
Vincent's.
Right.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I would come back. I'm reliving my childhood right now, playing in the giant sandbox and doing all this.
I mean, at a certain point, this is, for lack of a better terminology, this is getting to play cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, frontier settlers and Indians or whatever, but we all had to play that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't have to, but you know, what I mean?
We all did.
We all did, right? That's a great way to look at it. What about you?
I'm definitely coming back. If I have the opportunity to come back, I am doing it.
Really?
If I'm hired back, I will do it.
Looks right at producer.
So you were asking if we're halfway through. Next week, we'll be halfway through.
Next week's halfway.
Wednesday,
Their opinion
I
might
think
be
I
different.
Yeah, wait till the end.
Another 35 shows down the
Well,
line.
that's funny because people are like, "How have you done it for 5 years?" I was like, "Because I honestly, you do the summer and then you do the whole year and then you forget the rough stuff and you
Right.
remember the fond memories."
Right.
That's why I'm like instantly come back. I remember the fun stories.
So this runs from when to when, typically?
Usually the first weekend in June through Labor Day weekend. And,
Which is like the first weekend of September?
yeah,
right?
yeah. And it's every night but Sunday. And we even tack on a Sunday night. At the end of the period, because Labor Day weekend, you know, everybody's off on Monday, and
Sure.
so we kind of get an extra show in that way. So yeah, 71 shows a year. This is year number 47. Over 3 million people have seen the show over the years.
Over 3 million served.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the question for you, Brandon, you know, they've talked about how they would love to come back. When you're casting, next year, do you put out requests to last year's cast, and then the people who say they don't want to come back, is that what you're basing your casting on? Is the holes you got to fill?
That's where we start. So before we finish this year, we'll actually have auditions for the current company. So they can come and say, this year I played Red Horse, but next year I want to be Wasagaboa. And so he can audition for Wasagaboa. And that's where we start, right? So the current company gets, I don't want to say preferential treatment, but first shot. And if you look at the cast,
They get dibs.
They get dibs. And we do cast from within. Matt, who is our Tecumseh this year, his second year as Tecumseh, has been in the company for 4 years and has worked his way up to that. His first year here, he was on maintenance crew in the morning, right? So he developed that work ethic. So this is his second year as Tecumseh. And then we start filling the holes in there.
Interesting. What part do you play?
Simon Kenton.
Simon Kenton. What part do you want to play?
Simon Kenton. I don't want to change.
You've reached that level.
I mean, Tompkins is real fun.
What roles did you play before?
So my first year I was the Reverend. Second year I was Major Sanders. Third year I was James Galloway, and then fourth year I was Tompkins, and then I'm Simon Kenton.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And so this is the role you like the most?
Yeah, it's such a blast to do. It really is.
Yeah, that's
I was like, man, I'm gonna miss playing Tompkins, and then we get in rehearsals. I went, no, I don't. So, man, I love playing.
What about you? Who do you play?
I play Red Horse.
Oh, nice.
Scalpel Man in 1-1.
Yeah, he does.
Within 5 minutes, the round sees someone get stopped.
Talk about little kids crying.
Shoot a man off a cliff the first 5 minutes. Then we scalp him.
Man,
And you wonder why I cried when I was
Makes sense.
It makes sense.
That is awesome.
I'm having fun right now as Red Horse, but I'm the understudy for Chiksika. Chiksika's a fun role. Wasagaboa is fun. There's T.
So you're the understudy for Chiksika?
Yeah, Chiksika, White Loon.
Cool.
And general Indian, so I know everything. I know everything loosely.
Is there any part of you that wants to, like he said, sort of work your way up and actually play the man himself?
Sure, why not? If I get that opportunity, yeah.
You might need to work out some more.
Right.
Get a tan, work out a little bit.
Yeah, see, my thing is, if I ever play T, whoever's carrying me at the end of the show, that's gonna be rough.
1, 2, 3, not it.
All right, let's pull up 4 white guys.
Right.
That's hilarious. Reach out to the audience. We're gonna need some help.
Right.
You look under your chair.
Audience
You get a
participation.
number.
You get to help. You get to help. You get to help.
What about you, man? Who do you play?
I play Chiksika. I love playing that character so much. I can't really think of. I mean, I really love Kikaskalawa's part, so I think I would like to really try that. But I love playing Chiksika so much. It's such a blast playing that character.
You're just really into it.
Yeah, I really am. Like, he's the older brother, and I feel like, with the cast and all, that's like, I care about everybody. That's how Chiksika is, but I love the dynamic of, I wish I could be like Tecumseh and what he sees. I'm like, I'm older, I've seen too much. He has to be diplomatic, and I can't be right now. And like Matt and I've talked about that a lot, so we really feed off each other off that. So I really fell in love with playing that character so much.
Nice. Is there another character you would like to play in the future? Maybe next year?
So I could grow my beard back, probably Tompkins. but
Miss that beard, do you?
yeah, I do. But for this character, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Nice.
I have to shave every day because it grows really fast. So, yeah.
You poor people. What about you? You play?
I play Spemica-Lawba. I'm
Ooh, say that again.
Spemica-Lawba.
That's it, backwards.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm Chiksika's nephew. I'm this child of Tecumseh and her first husband, and even though I'm like ensemble, I get to have so much fun just like reading Shawnee, like understanding language and making up my lines as ad-libs the entire show.
Explain that.
Essentially, we are all taught the Shawnee language. Well, not full on,
Sure.
but we learn enough of the Shawnee language to like have dialogue that we can think of. And usually the main cast will like add little bits and pieces whenever they're not talking in order to like build more meat into the scene. Whereas if you're ensemble, that's pretty much your lines. You learn Shawnee for the language. You pick out different words and different phrases that fit the scene, and then you say them in order to give more life to the scene that's on stage.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I had no idea there was any ad-lib in this thing at all.
Oh.
That's good.
You've been ad-libbing for 47 years?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is this a bit?
Every single time.
That's so crazy. That blows me away.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you want to play?
To be honest, I want to play Blue Jacket.
Why?
Because, like, honestly, seeing Blue Jacket is the one person that is willing to go out and follow Tecumseh's ideals for just, like, trying to really advocate for peace between the frontiersmen and the Shawnee is a very admirable role, especially when you know that Blue Jacket was adopted and he wasn't originally there. And that's honestly the kind of line of thinking that I have for my character, because since I'm, like, the only African-American on the Shawnee side, I always personally made my story as I was adopted into the Shawnee, and for Blue Jacket to actually have that story, I want to really be there to bring that to life. I also want to play Sykes, because that's fun.
So you want to be Blue Jacket, but only if there's no other African Americans in the play that year.
It helps. It helps. I said,
Blue Jacket was actually
and the
the
only
proto-
thing, but it helps.
Yeah.
What did you say?
So Blue Jacket was actually the proto-Tecumseh.
What do you mean?
He started fighting back in rebellions first. I mean, he wasn't the first one to do it, but like
Sure.
he's actually quite a bit older than Tecumseh.
Think he was sort of a role model, like a mentor? In your opinion.
Yeah, and you know, and the way they fought and stuff. Because think by Blue Jacket's actually by Act 2, he's pretty old.
Right.
He's probably in his 50s, 60s. Mm-hmm.
So has your family, and well, obviously your family's seen it because they brought you and traumatized you as a young lad. And
That's not the only way to traumatize me. But we'll
I'm
move on.
sure.
That's a different podcast.
So has your family come see your performance?
My mommy's coming tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
My mom and my aunt are coming tonight because I don't think they've actually seen the show in like 3 years. Because they watched it for 3 years when I was in it, and then they were like, "Oh, you're in it again." I was like,
Wait
"You
a
don't
minute.
have to come."
Wait. But your brother was also in it. They didn't come see him?
No.
He's just like, no, why would they?
I don't think
If you see one of them, you've seen both of them.
There's
They've
something
already
better
seen
for
you
another
do
part.
it.
Although Robert miraculously played the white guy part I never played, which was the Sergeant Whitlock role. I never played that.
That's hilarious. Is your family coming?
Yeah, my mom already came. She came for my birthday in July, so that was a lot of fun. She really loved the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was at her heels with it. She was like, "This is amazing."
I like her.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah, she
She
was so
just
funny.
get that Brazilian accent.
Yeah.
She's-
You were a good guy.
Oh.
Yeah, no, man, she loved the show. She's always had a thing. She's always like Native American culture, and like she's always brought me up with that. So I've had a little bit of knowledge of it. So seeing this,
Certainly didn't get it from your school.
no, not at all. But certainly, she loved it, and I'm really happy that she get to see me do this. Even though I get to scalp the guy, she's like, "You're a bad guy," and I'm like, "No, that's what we did. That's what we did." It's
You're
like,
grounded. You're grounded.
right, yeah.
You were a bad
basically.
man.
Yeah.
What about you, man? Does your family see it?
Not yet. They're gonna come out here in about 2 weeks, but they're really, really excited because they were like looking up anything up online, seeing YouTube clippings, and reading about the reviews. Are really, really excited.
Are you excited to
Oh,
have
yeah.
them come see it?
Oh,
See
yeah.
what you've been working so hard on?
Mm-hmm. It's like I want to tell them stuff, and I'm like, no,
I don't want to spoil it.
I don't want to spoil. I want them to just be in awe when they see it.
Well, they will be. I can't stress enough how amazing the show is. What about your family?
My film's coming next week.
Oh, cool. Are you as excited as they are about them seeing it?
In all honesty, I'm pretty much more excited than they are because for them, it's coming to see me because they always show up to support me in anything I do. But for me, I legitimately want them to see this story because it's something that, as a young man, I never experienced for like Native American history, and I feel like it would really be an amazing message for like my mom, my little sister, for them to actually be exposed to this sort of story.
So you think even your mom's generation didn't learn much about the history?
Yeah, I really feel like they don't. I'm pretty sure that they know little to nothing about it.
Yeah, they bypass it.
So that's one of the things that you're most excited about is for them to learn this story?
Yes.
Not just to see you in it, but to learn the actual story?
I genuinely want them to know more about this sort of Native American culture that is generally never really talked about, especially where we're from.
Right.
We beat the British. Harrison became president. Harrison died. Now on to the Civil War.
Right.
Yep.
Breezed right through.
That sums it up.
That makes a lot of sense.
The White House was burned.
Right, yeah. One time, yeah.
Do you want to go around the room and say your name and where people can find the social media?
Yeah, let me bring it up because I don't remember.
You don't remember it?
If you want to skip me off.
Yeah, whoever's ready, go ahead and...
My name is James Cunha. My Instagram is _Cunha Matata, CUNHA.
Shut up. I'm so sorry I stepped on that. You're good. Do that again. You're good. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Say it again.
THE_CUNHA
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's my last name.
That is cool. And so that's on everything?
Instagram. Yeah,
Instagram.
That's the main thing.
That's what the kids are doing these days?
Right.
Is Instagram? Where you at?
Lance Mendoza, and I can be found on Facebook. I can also be found on Twitter. Lance, damn it. All caps. So find me on Twitter.
How do you spell damn it?
DAMNET.
E.T. I'm glad I asked.
I'm also on YouTube. I have a funny little YouTube channel called Lance's Logic, so you guys can check that out too.
It's a YouTube called Lance's Logic?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do on it?
Do a lot of random funny stuff. Me and my friends.
Who will be the judge of how funny it is?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, you're not very funny in real life.
Oh.
Get him! My Instagram is Rich Witch is Witch.
You want to spell that out?
Yeah, Rich as in my name, Witch as in Magic Witch, is, and like which one? Which witch is which?
Gotcha. CeVonn?
Facebook, and just so you know, my name is spelled CEVONN Williams, and on Instagram you can find me at King of Games 234.
King of Games?
Yes, King of Games 234.
Are you a gamer?
No.
Oh, good. Wait, what?
Because that would be misleading.
Yeah, it'd be terribly misleading, but the name is cool, so that's why I picked it.
Nice. Very cool. Brandon, where can they find you?
I'm not nearly as hip. Clearly. I'm on Facebook under Brandon Ace.
Just so you know, people who are hip don't say the word hip.
Absolutely.
Get yourself away.
Are you blitz, sir?
But the Tecumseh Facebook
don't think
page
any of
and all
us
that.
here.
Tecumseh drama everywhere.
All right, that was just a test because scroll down to the show notes, everybody. All of their social media tags are going to be in the show notes, so go ahead and scroll down and reach out to these fools. It was fun. Before you guys go, once again, I want to thank you all for your time. I really, really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun for me every year to come out and get to talk to you people. Is there anything that I didn't ask you guys that y'all wanted to say or wanted to talk about?
Come see the show.
See the show.
Yeah.
See it for
It's
yourself.
marvelous. It's spectacle. There's
It's
explosions. There's blood.
Right.
There's love.
There's
There's
love.
heart. You gotta have heart.
There's violence. You gotta have violence.
Yeah.
It's 2019. You gotta have violence.
It's true. Hey.
It's better than cats.
I don't know. Dame Judi Dench or somebody's in Cats. Is she here? You know?
So weird.
Creepy as shit, right?
Yeah.
Very bizarre. Well, thank you guys again so much. I appreciate all of your time. And thank you for letting everybody get to know a little bit more about Young Fascination Street. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm not kidding. It is so much fun. It's fun to come in and talk to you guys beforehand. And then it's, I want to say as much fun, but it might just be a little bit more fun when I get to see the show, later in the day, like I do every time I come. It's amazing. I love it. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun.
Oh, I didn't ask y'all. What do y'all think about? Because y'all live here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do y'all think about that? Like, did y'all expect that part? Like, I'm sure it was in the contract, but that's got to be weird, right?
This year they had photos on you showed photos of the.
Yeah.
My first year there wasn't. They didn't tell me at all. I just showed up and went, oh, we're in sheds.
So this year it was like, here's a contract, and also you're going to be staying in this cabin with 13 other people.
Luckily, we have 2 to 3 max in a place.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 1 if it comes in. But
Yeah.
like, spacing isn't too bad. If you can make the accommodations work, you can. You just got to clean a lot.
You get close to people.
It's a
You
college.
you do.
It's
It
like a
really-
college dorm. Right?
Yeah. If you've gone to college, you've lived in a dorm, you get used to it.
I try to be as honest as I can when I go to auditions. I said, listen, here's the deal. You're going to be living in a tool shed. There's no air conditioning. You're not going to make a whole lot of money. Are you still interested? Because you can kind of see
All of these people.
Why did I say yes?
when I'm talking in the room, you can start seeing interest. Like one, nope, they're out. Nope, they're out. And so the people who are left, those are the folks.
That's the cast this
That's
year.
right. Those are the folks I need to talk to.
Hey, you're all right.
I don't
It's
know.
not for everybody. You know what? It's just not. We've had people leave in the middle of the night with notes on their pillows. I just can't. It's not for everybody.
It isn't.
But for those who it's
Special
okay
kind of
for,
crazy.
it's a life changing experience.
Yes. It's pretty dope. I like it.
I don't know,
It's
I
a
had
work
to-
of horses.
I had to rough it a lot worse than this before coming here. So I came here. I'm like, see the cat. I'm like, these are nice. These are way bigger than I thought they would be.
There's a roof?
Yeah, I have a roof over my head. Sweet.
Sweet.
So do y'all think that living in close proximity to everybody for so long helps the bonding of the cast and the performance? Do you think that helps in any way?
It definitely has
Yeah.
its pros and cons, but
Right.
I'd say it definitely helps us bond as a cast.
Right.
Like I work contracts and like barely know most of the cast, or like
Right.
barely know few of the people, but
Right.
like you're forced to.
Right.
But like I think it really helps the show and it makes people more approachable.
I've heard on a lot of war movies, like Platoon and things like that, that's what the director does is he puts everybody all together so that they get that bond. And then, that sort of informs their performance of being brothers or whatever.
Well, another benefit working here is the connections you make with people. It's like I'm still in contact with people I worked with at 13 and 14. Like it's amazing. Like,
Building friendships.
building friendships, building connections,
Relationships.
Yeah,
knowing
cool.
people, like it's crazy.
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, you spend almost every hour with, When I first got here, first person I met was Matt. Plays Tecumseh. I was like, oh, okay. Hi.
Mr. Tecumseh.
Right. Yeah. It was super nice. I was like, oh, so something like that. Okay, cool.
Very cool. So I guess we would say he's number one on the call sheet.
Yeah.
No one.
He's A.
He's Mr. Tecumseh Chief.
Tecumseh, sir.
Well, thank you again, guys. I really appreciate it. And I will let y'all go do all of your other things in the hot, sweaty outside.
Yeah.
As always, thanks for listening, Streetwalkers. And don't forget, follow the show on Twitter at FascinationSTPD, on Instagram at FascinationStreetPod. Follow the podcast page on Facebook at Fascination Street Podcast. And of course, you can always email me at fascinationstreetpod@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and rate us on iTunes. For the next 3 months, everybody who rates and reviews the show and sends a screenshot to fascinationstreetpod@gmail.com will get a free surprise gift mailed to them. Every single one of you. So do it. Thanks, Streetwalkers. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.